Hey, it's W5HRO. This tube came way earlier than it was supposed to. It was supposed to be the end of this. Originally, it was supposed to be after this week, next weekend. It's what is it? It's Monday, whatever today's date is. It's Monday something or other. It's before this weekend's what, like the 16th? What's Friday or Saturday? The 16th. It's Monday. So it was supposed to have been here after this next weekend. But then it got changed to like the end of this week. Now it's Monday and it got here already. So I'm gonna take it out of the box. It's just one of these Chinese ones. So, you know, it's like these things here, this RF parts one, this 3-500ZG. If you take a good look at this, these things are kind of cheaply made. I mean, they're kind of, I don't know, man. I think that's a Penna, or it could be this brand, but I'm gonna take it out of the box, and the first thing I gotta do is I gotta check the height and make sure it's not any taller than this one, because if it is, I'm gonna have a problem. This amplifier was the compact kilowatt, right? And this thing is between this, the space between this and the top of the lid, the chassis or the cover, it'll arc if it gets up there any closer. The way it is now, it never has a problem. This amp's never had that issue. So everything, they fixed that in this last, this amp was made sometime, I gotta look at the documentation again. I think it was in the mid to late 80s, but this was the last production run of this original AL-80. So let me take this out of the box and see if it's the same size. If it is, I'm gonna plug it in, because I pulled the tube out, I turned it on, and that problem goes away. So I'm pretty sure it's the tube, because the Zener rings, I see the 0.6 something diode drop when you go the one way, then the other way is the high impedance, like around 3 to 5 meg, which is normal for a Zener in that direction. So I don't think the Zener is bad, but I did order, I've got a 7.5 volt Zener in this thing. I did go back and watch my videos, and what I remembered was that I'd put a 7.5 volt Zener in this, and I discovered that was based on the AL-80A or B. I think it was the A. And the AL-80A, the voltage of the high V supply is a little higher. And I determined that I needed to drop that Zener down to the 6.8 volt Zener 10 watt. And I've got one on order. I think it's supposed to be here later today. It's an NTE. I got it off Amazon, but it's an actual NTE. So it's, you know, shouldn't be a problem. So I'm gonna make sure everything works when I get this new tube in here first. And I'm going to tip it on its side, and I'm going to double check that voltage across that Zener, because I remember where it was, and that's what told me I needed a 6.8 volt Zener in this thing, because the plate voltage is slightly lower than the AL-80A, and that's why. They use a 7.5 volt Zener for that one. This one needs a 6.8. It was never added to this design, and they determined later, of course, you need those because it really helps stabilize things. It helps protect the tube. But this tube was in there, obviously was just getting having a problem. Now, if I put this tube in, if it's not any higher and it does the same thing again, then I know, okay, then I got to go to plan B. What was it? What I say it was? It would have been the Zener, and if not the Zener, one of these caps. But the fact it doesn't do it unless it's, well, I don't think the extra load of the tube, but there's no power going through, so it shouldn't really draw much current, right? So shouldn't draw really any, so it really shouldn't even be an issue. Just the idle bias is all it's going to draw, where that Zener puts it, you know. So anyway, let's put this let's check this tube and see if it's going to be the same size, and see if that problem's gone. And then if it is, I'm going to put the 6.8 volt Zener in there when I get it, and I'm going to check that. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the meter lights and button this thing back and get it back in the operating position. So let me do that, and I'll just connect it to this video here. Okay, I had to let it sit here and cool off a while. Here's the new tube, and the problem is in fact gone. It was that crappy RF parts tube. And this thing's been sitting out here discharged for a week, several days since the last video that I made here. So the problem's gone. The only thing is that tube is in fact a little bit taller, but I'm looking at that tube compared to this thing. This thing is a piece of crap. I'm glad, by the way, that they're sold out of these. RF Parts doesn't have any more of them. This is a piece of crap tube. If you look at the plate on this one, it's like heavy duty. It's like, you can just tell by looking at it. It's like, that's a tube. This is like a cheaply made, it's like the cheapest Chinese made tube you can get. That's China too, but this one's heavy duty. You can tell by looking at it. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to glue like a little, just to put, this is the lid, this is the underside. It's still down below the top, and it won't hit it, but it is up a little higher, and I'm gonna try it. What I'm gonna go before I put the lid back on, I'm gonna find some kind of like a thin ceramic piece or some kind of rubber, something that won't melt, something high temp, and I'm gonna try to like cut out like a square or maybe a big circle and just glue it to this with some glue that won't melt from the heat, and just put something that's like, I'll figure out where it is, and I'll try it. I'll measure, you know, the distance and everything from the back to this and everything, and I'll try to figure out where the spot is, and I'll make it a little bigger in case I get it off just a little bit from where the tube is, the anode cap. So I think that's what I can do. I can put a thin piece of insulating material here just as a safety precaution and give it a shot and see what happens, right? It'll either work or it won't, and if it doesn't, I got to change tubes in this thing. But hey, that's a good tube. So let me go ahead and do this, and I'm going to change to that 6.8 volt Zener when I get it. I'm going to check this one first, but I already know it's still good. So but anyway, that was the problem with the oh, not only that, the plate voltage has dropped down a little. Yeah, that's where it's supposed to be, because before when you switch it, that meter was just slamming all the way. That tube must have not been loading the thing down enough. Just everything, there's really no high V. I mean, it's actually on the tube right now, but there's no drive, so nothing's happening. So I'm like, what? Okay. That's interesting, but the voltage went down. That means that tube was caught, it was slowly opening up, because what happened the other day when the power, and the guy told me, asked me if I was still there, and then I keyed up again, I realized I had bias, you know, the bias level, static bias, but it wasn't modulated. There was no power coming out when I was talking, and I turned it off. And I didn't tell you this part in the last video. When I turned it off, I let it cool off. I went upstairs. I went back down about a half hour later. I turned it back on. That meter went, you know, it came up like it did, then it went down. And I started talking. It was working again. So the tube was going intermittent. If I plugged this tube in again, it would start working again, but it's going to go intermittent. So, you know, it's a piece of crap too. But the guy probably put it in there back in, I would estimate, probably mid to late 90s. So anyway, but this tube's better, plus it's got the ceramic thing instead of the phenolic thing here. So I'm just worried about that plate cap. It's not much higher, but it was just a hair, and just a hair could be enough to make this thing arc. So I'm gonna have to put some insulation there. So let me figure that out, make sure the thing works. Then I'm gonna start attacking these, I'm gonna put the 6.8 volt Zener in there and check it. Then I'm gonna start working on these meter lights, and I'll put that on there, put the lid on. Well, I'm gonna take it back in the shack, because I need to finally adjust these tuned inputs. I'm gonna adjust them so I got, you know, a perfect SWR match. The built-in tuner on the radio, the auto tuner, takes care of that, but still, you do this, it'll work even better. So this video is kind of premature. I was gonna just do one last video on this, but let me go ahead and I just wanted to show you what I found. It was the tube, so I was right about that. And let me go ahead and take it from here, and I'll post this video here, and then we'll see what happens. But I'll do one more video after this, after I have it all done, or maybe I'll do another video as I'm tuning the inputs up here in the shack or something when I take it in there to hook it up. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I may not make a video. Maybe I will and attach it to one of the other videos. I don't know. We'll see. But I will do one more video when I get all this figured out and make sure this Maybe I'll do a video, and the next I'll show you where I've got this glued. I'll put the lid on. We'll take it in there and test it and see if it works. When I get it to that point, then I'll make a video. 73s for now. This is W5HRO with the AL-80. New tube. This thing will be back to life now. The bad tube's pulled out of it, and I'm just worried about that tube being a little bit higher. 73s.